It's Thursday, the 14th of November 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Adam Lang, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Adam.
All right, Sean, story number 1. Public sector wages grew faster than the private sector for the first time in 4 years during September, and that's good news for anyone hoping interest rates will fall sooner rather than later.
Overall salary growth fell to a 2-year low, with the Bureau of Statistics saying wages growth was 3.5% in the year to September, down from 4.1% in the 12 months to June. Public sector growth was 3.7%, private sector 3.5%. For the quarter, across public and private, it was 0.8%, below expectations. Interest rates are definitely slowing the private sector's wages just aren't rising as much. Remember, much of the growth in employment that we've seen has been in government-funded sectors, the public sector, aged care, health, education. The September quarter reading is critical because many wages reset on July 1. In fact, about 45% of employees got a pay increase during the September quarter. The Fair Work Commission decision this year was the 3.75% increase. Last year was 5.75%. We're seeing that flow through. Now, wages, a big part of keeping prices lower. Put simply, if wages rise, companies tend to pass on the extra costs in higher prices. If they don't rise so much, you don't get that push through. All this reflects the cooling economy. The numbers themselves were weaker than expected. As I mentioned, the good news is that wages aren't putting as much pressure on inflation.
And Sean, there was more good news on that inflation front from the Commonwealth Bank. Its data suggested the majority of Stage 3 tax cuts, which commenced on 1 July, were used to pay down debt rather than buy more goods and services.
Exactly. They can see that in terms of how much people are paying off their mortgages. We've also had retail trade figures from the Bureau that back that up. There's been no great surge in spending as a result of people receiving more money in their pay packets. For anyone hoping interest rates will fall, this too is good news. The fear was that people would spend their tax cuts and keep pressure on inflation, but a couple of bits of data yesterday suggest that's not the case.
Sean, story number 2, the federal opposition will support government proposals to shake up merger laws, which will introduce mandatory notification where companies involved in mergers meet certain monetary thresholds.
Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers is trying to stop mergers that boost industry concentration, lessen competition, and give dominant players more ability to push up prices. At the moment, it's what they call a voluntary notification regime. Under the new rules, there are a bunch of things like if revenue for the combined businesses is above $200 million, if one of the businesses has turnover above $50 million, if the company has more than $250 million in revenue globally, then the ACCC will have a look at it. The ACCC will also be able to request the Treasurer designate sectors of the economy where deals would require approval, according to the Fin Review. Now, the competition watchdog chair, Gina Cass-Gottlieb, has already singled out supermarkets, liquor stores, pathology and private cancer radiation for special treatment.
Sean, story number 3, tech leader Wisetech Global is facing a class action alleging that the group failed to tell investors it was falling short of aggressive earnings targets.
The allegations in the Supreme Court of Victoria say the company had several opportunities to update guidance in mid-2019, but didn't. Wisetech said it was on track for record earnings of about $150 million for the year ended June 2020. Twice it said it was on track to hit the guidance, but eventually it revised its earnings to around $123 million. That triggered a 27% fall in its share price in one session, another 12% the next day. That's what this class action is all about.
Sean, another big one at story number 4, the Trump trade has taken a breather, with Tesla's share price falling 6% and US equity steady, while Bitcoin has come off a touch.
Just a touch, back under $88,000 a unit. Wall Street, and particularly the share price of Tesla, has jumped post the Trump election. Tesla, until yesterday, was up more than 40% in 5 sessions. The hopes on Wall Street are that Donald Trump enacts big tax cuts for large businesses, helping earnings. Trump administration 1.0 did exactly that. Now, the difference this time around, though, is that in the year before Trump was elected in 2016, Wall Street went backwards. In the year to last Tuesday, Wall Street's up more than 25%. Back in 2016, Wall Street was undervalued. Not so today. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Otherwise, Brent crude's trading around $72 a barrel. Gold continues its slow decline, and an ounce of the precious metal is worth just over $2,600. The Aussie dollar is trading just over 65 US cents.
And Sean, a remarkable one at story number 5. President-elect Donald Trump continues to unveil members of his incoming team, and Elon Musk and Vivek and Vivek Ramaswamy will co-lead a US Department of Government Efficiency.
Gotta love the name. Musk, we know. Ramaswamy ran in the Republican primaries. He's an entrepreneur who previously made a lot of money from a pharmaceutical company. Trump said it will become the Manhattan Project of our time. That was about building the atomic bomb. Not quite sure where the analogy there is. Mr. Trump said the new department will seek to slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditure, and restructure federal agencies. Now, Mr. Musk, in a very Trump-esque moment last month, said he could cut $2 trillion from the federal budget. That's about a third of total spending. In fact, it's more than a third of total spending. Don't know what happens to Social Security and Medicaid and veterans benefits and all that. There's more, though. Probably more astounding is that Donald Trump announced that Peter Hegseth, who is a Fox News anchorman, a Fox News host, he'll be his Secretary of Defense. Peter Hegseth is an Army veteran, but absolutely no government experience. He'll be in charge of 3 million military and civilian employees. Also, former Texas Congressman John Ratcliffe is going to be director of the CIA.
That's it, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Adam.
It's Thursday, the 14th of November 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, then find our longer podcast called Fear and Greed on your favourite podcast platform. I'm Adam Lang, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.